What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show today. My name is Kaytlynn Ward, and I am your host here at the Kaytlynn Ward Show. And today, I am so excited to be joined by my mom, Kristin Ward, our special guest for the next 3 weeks, because we are doing a parenting series. We're going to discuss the topics such as discipline, parenting mistakes, how to raise godly children, and so much more. It's going to be such a blast, and you're not going to want to miss a single episode. So hit that subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out. Let's get right into the topic today. Welcome to the show today, Mom.
Thank you. I'm glad you're having me on. I feel honored, and I'm excited about all of our topics.
I'm excited. This is the parenting expert herself.
You're so sweet.
What can I say? Had some great kids. I'm kidding.
Well, I do have great kids, but they are my kids too.
Yeah, she's biased, but so
The reason why we are doing this podcast and this series is because I've had a lot of friends that have either just had babies, family that have had babies, and some that are due in just a couple weeks, which is so exciting.
It has been a great season.
I know. I felt like we went a long season without any babies in our life, and then it's just like, bam, here's 6 of them. So
we all the babies.
I know. And so today we just wanted to share with you some of the insights into close to 50 years worth of wisdom. And it is, I know she doesn't look 50, but just to help you guys, because being a first-time parent, I mean, I'm not a parent, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how am I going to do this? So the fact that you guys are in this season right now, just want to be able to give you some wisdom that hopefully can help you and your family. Mom, what's our scripture today?
Our scripture today is Proverbs 13:24. It's one of my favorites when it's talking about children because, the old saying, you spare the rod, you spoil the child.
Yeah.
That's not technically how it says it. That's just kind of how we say it. I mean, maybe a version does. But in the Amplified Classic, it says, he who spares his rod of discipline hates his son, but he who loves him disciplines diligently and punishes him early. So that's so powerful because I don't want in God's eyes to look at me that I hate my children because I refuse to discipline them.
Right.
I mean, it's important for us to discipline our children, and it's biblical.
It's so just direct and straightforward because it's literally, you love him, you discipline him.
Yeah.
You hate him, you don't. So do you want to hate your child? No. Do you want God to look at you and be like, you hate your child for not disciplining? So today we're going into the topic of discipline. How do you discipline? And you've said that for discipline, you need to start early and stay consistent. So how early do you start disciplining?
So it's so important for you to start early because when you start early, you won't have as many issues and things to fix when they get older. But I remember, I think it was with you. I mean, like I've got 4 kids, so I don't remember exactly who did what, but I'm pretty sure it was you. You were 6 or 7 months old and I was holding you and we were doing something and you didn't like what we were doing and you stiffened yourself out and threw your head back, stuck your legs out, and you started screaming, crying. And I was like, oh, no, we're not going to do that. So I just spatted your little thigh. I mean, when they're that little, yes, you can correct, but it's definitely not much. I mean, you barely tap them, but it like shakes you back into reality and you're like, wait a minute, what was that? And you stopped crying and you were like,
I'm not doing that again.
I don't want to do that. I mean, you're going to have to do it a few times, but it does really start that early because that first instance of learning that you can have an attitude and disagree with something, you've got to nip it in the bud, as the old saying goes. And it really makes things easier.
I've seen so many times where people will come up to you, and whether it's in church, because my parents were pastors for many, many years.
Yeah.
And there would be kids that would throw themselves down as a tantrum. And I'm like, ooh, no. And they would come to you and ask you, well, how do I fix this? So talk a little bit about your wooden spoon, because that is something, like, anytime I've heard her give a piece of wisdom starting early, this has been it.
So there is a book I read. It was years ago. You were a baby, because this is when I got the revelation of our hands are meant to love our children. They are meant to feed you, bathe you, show affection, play games with. So when you go to discipline, use a wooden spoon because that wooden spoon represents the discipline and not your hands.
Yeah.
And so when I got that and I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. So I went to the store and bought a big old package of wooden spoons. I had one in my purse, one in my diaper bag, one at the office, one at home, like in every room. And all eventually, after you realized and all of your siblings realized that that wooden spoon meant I was going to get a spanking or a pow pow, whatever you want to call it. I've had friends that called it pow pows. They eventually all I had to do was say, "You want me to get that wooden spoon?" And you'd be like, "Nope." And so you straighten up. So it takes away the discipline factor from the loving hands of the mom and the dad and puts it into that spoon. And it's very helpful when it comes to having those boundaries.
It's one of my most heard things from you because I've seen so many people change after that. Like I started seeing our kids behave better, and it wasn't like they were going around just whacking them, all the time. No, it's not that at all. But they learn to, okay, this is respect. This is mom. Okay. So
Yeah.
it's something that you might not want to do, but
Yeah, who wants to spank
Exactly.
their kids? That you don't want to spank your kids. And I'll have to say is, when I have people ask me, how do I get them not to throw this fit? And I'm like, you yank their butt up off the floor and you spank them. You don't just stand there and watch them like, are you done? No, I'm going to make you be done.
yeah. Yeah. This is not gentle parenting 101.
No, gentle parenting does not work.
No, this is called biblical parenting right here because we don't want to hate our children. We don't. So you said that when you started earlier, when you discipline your kids when they were little, you're more than likely not going to have as many problems when they get older. Now, going through puberty, adults, all that stuff, you're going to have changes. But how do parents who realize that they need to start disciplining because they didn't do it when they were younger, how do they start and stay consistent?
Yeah. So I've had this instance when I was asked that by parents, and they weren't consistent with discipline, or they didn't discipline at all. And my advice to them is that if you're in that situation where your kids are a little bit older and you've never really disciplined them or spanked them, just sit them down and have a conversation with them and say, look, God has really spoken to me, and I realize that I've not been parenting you right. And so we're going to change things. When you misbehave and you don't do what you're supposed to do, or when you lie, or when you or upset with your sister or brother and you act out, or you don't do what you're supposed to do, there's going to be consequences. And I'm either going to spank you, if they're still young, of course you spank. But once they get older, if that doesn't, some kids, they're like, spank me if you want. I'll be just quiet. Yeah, I'll be fine when you get done. Then you take away something that is very important to them, whether it be a video game, a phone if they have a phone, TV time, going to a friend's house, whatever it is. Yeah. But the important part of that is that when you make that turn, and after you've told them you're going to make that you've made these decisions and you're changing, you have got to be consistent. That very, very first time they do something wrong, or they lie, or they mouth off at you, you better right then keep your word. Because if you don't keep your word, they're not going to believe you, and they're going to be like, whatever, I can still do what I want. She's not going to do anything, or he's not going to do anything. And that's where consistency comes in and discipline comes in. Because I don't care how comfortable you are on that couch watching TV. If you tell them, you do that one more time, I'm going to spank you, you better get your butt up off that couch and go spank them if they do it one more time.
And let me tell you, she did. I saw this video. It was, I think you sent it to me. It was on Instagram. But there was this dad, and he found out that his daughter was skipping school, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
So that's a really great example for right now. So share a little bit about that.
Yeah. So about the video?
Yeah, about the video.
So that video was just epic. This dad found out that his teenage daughter, high school, obviously, because she was able to go skip something, a class or school went altogether. He found out that she skipped. And so by the time she got home from school, he had completely cleaned out her room.
Everything.
Clothes, bed, furniture, pictures, everything. He swept the floor, cleaned it up, put a mattress in there, put a change of clothes in there, and a blanket. And that was it. He said if she thinks she can skip school and not pay the consequences, she's going to live in her own prison. And so that was her weekend punishment. And I was like, now that is over the top, but you can guarantee it made a lasting impact with her.
Definitely. And we don't even know what that girl had to say, but we know that it had an impact, because imagine you had all of your clothes, all of your stuff taken away. And
I mean, I've never seen anything that dramatic, but I was like, bravo.
Yeah, honestly. And I mean, when you think about it, even if maybe they had a party they were going to, they're like, oh, I really need this pair of clothes. No, you're suffering the consequence.
Yeah.
And you have to stick to it.
Oh, yeah. That's the important part, sticking to your word.
Okay, for our last question, this is not directly related to discipline, but it's kind of related to discipline. We talked about this a little bit before we started recording today. And I want to ask you, what do parents do when they start noticing something is going on with their kids? Something's a little bit different. It's not right. They're not as joyful as they used to be. It's not like they were, they once were just super crazy kid, and now they just kind of grew into themselves and they chilled out. But you start noticing some different tendencies that aren't their usual. That is something wrong.
Like something's off.
Something's off. How do you go about figuring out what that is?
Well, first off, you need to see, what are they listening to? If they've got AirPods or headphones on all the time, what are they listening to? And don't ask them, take them from them and listen to them, because they could lie to you. Who have they been hanging around? Where have they been? The group of people that they can be hanging around could cause them to be doing things that they normally wouldn't do, but they're trying to do those things to fit in. So then therefore that spirit can come on them, and then they can start getting in their head, and like depression could try to be coming on them, all these different things, because they're hanging around the wrong people, listening to the wrong things, watching the wrong thing. And the other one is has something happened to them? Like, had they been out of your scope for an extended period of time where something not good or maybe bad has happened to them, and it's caused them to internalize everything? Those are some more serious things that you have to think about and you have to investigate. And it just depends on each individual child of like how much time they spend away from their parents and their family and their home, because then you kind of lose control of knowing everything that's going on with them.
Yeah.
And like when your kids live in the house and they stay in their room all the time and they have the door closed, and they're like, oh, I need to give them their privacy. No, they don't have privacy. They have privacy to change clothes and go to the bathroom and shower. I mean, you live under my roof.
Yeah.
I pay your bills. I pay your phone. If you have a phone, I give you clothes. You don't get privacy.
Yeah.
So you've got to keep that lane of communication open, but you've also got to let them realize, no, you can't hide anything from me. And you just reassure them that they can talk to you about anything.
Yeah.
Because when they know that they can talk to you about anything, then they're more apt to share. But then even still, at times they may not share. So you need to seek some advice and wisdom on how to ask probing questions to get to the root of what's going on.
Definitely. And some people that, we've even had experiences a couple years ago where there was an instance like that, and it's per child. Like, it's definitely different for each person, and definitely seeking wisdom and advice. It's not something we can give you an A + B = C kind of answer, but just to give a little bit of insight. And one thing that you said, this isn't a question we had prepared, but it's something that came to my mind. You were talking about like their phone and talking about going back to discipline when they're like teenagers, middle school. Well, if they have phones and they need it to go to sports games because you need to know when they get dropped off from the school bus, well, how do you discipline a child with their phone while still allowing them to keep it? But how do you shut everything else off? Like, how do you only have it be a phone? Say they have an iPhone. Maybe you give them a flip phone. But what does that look like to keep communication with your kid while also taking away all the fun stuff?
Well, if you really want to go to extremes, you can just go buy a cheap flip phone, and what are those? They pay by the minutes or something.
Yeah.
They're super cheap. So, but if you maybe don't have the finances to go get a whole nother phone, within a iPhone, there are, maybe not everybody may know this, but there are settings in there where you can turn everything off, and it's password protected by the parent or guardian. And you can you can delete every single app out of that phone. And then you can go in there and you can set it to where they cannot download or delete any apps.
Yeah.
So then it's very restricted. And then you can take, there are like time frames. I think you can put like
you can put
time
time
limits on things.
Yeah.
So the big thing is just turning everything off, deleting every single app off of there that's not necessary, and locking it down with a password to where all they can do is text certain people and call certain people.
And if you don't know how to do this, make an appointment with your local Genius Bar.
Exactly. Apple can tell you exactly how to do it better than I could.
Exactly what to do. But I know that you've used that before, and even gave the advice for other people to do it, because you do need to communicate with your kid.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that when they're disciplined, they don't need Instagram. They don't need it. They don't need it. I was about to say Facebook.
So that's a whole other topic.
Facebook, because they don't need Instagram.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. They don't need that stuff until they're much older anyway.
Yeah, and we're going to get into that on our third episode in this series, but that's just a little teaser. So that is wrapping up our topic today on discipline. And if you have any questions related to that, send them to us, because she will be answering them. I'll reply to you in the comments. They'll be from Kristin Ward herself. But as we close that topic today, on Instagram, I posted a video and was like, hey, if you have parenting questions, send them to me. They can be about anything. No question, it does not have to be asked. And
right, no question is too stupid to be asked.
Yeah, and so I even asked some of my friends that have just had babies or are about to have them. So these are completely unrelated to the topic we discussed today. But they are going to be some bonus questions. So some of you guys have asked these questions and be like, how do I do this? So question number 1 is, we're going to talk about sleep and routines.
Okay.
Why can't I get her to stay awake past 5:30?
Okay, so there
PM.
Obviously there are multiple reasons, but with you and all of y'all, past a certain time in the evening, you would want to fall asleep too early. Like, we did not give y'all early bedtimes because our lifestyle did not accommodate that. So we needed y'all to stay up till 10:30 or so and go to bed when we went to bed. So what we would do, this sounds harsh, but I'm telling you, it works. We would get a baby wipe or a washcloth and rub the bottom of your feet or get your arms and your hands, and we would do everything we could to keep you awake. And those first few times, I mean, it could have been a week's worth or more. It was hard to keep y'all awake. But then it eventually fixed your nap routine during the day, because you need to get them a morning nap, and you need to get them an early afternoon nap, because when babies are like babies, they nap all the time. And so it's not until they get to be like one and a half when they really only need like 2 naps, like a morning nap and an afternoon nap. But that 5:30 p.m., you've just got to do everything you can, whether it's washing their head with a washcloth or wet wipe, and their feet, their arms, and give them a bath, or like whatever it is, just do what you can. If you got to like dance them up and down and sing with them, I don't care if they're screaming their head off. You just keep them awake. It takes a lot of work, though, for the first little bit.
I believe it. I mean, I'm going to go back and watch these when I have kids. And this leads us to our next question. How do people create better sleep schedules for their kiddos?
Okay, so that goes back to what I said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What does your lifestyle need? You accommodate your lifestyle. You don't accommodate the baby's lifestyle, because they don't change your routine. They don't change your work schedule, your church schedule, your volunteer schedule. Whatever you have to do, that baby doesn't change it. That baby fits into your life. And so you make their schedule work around whatever you have to do. So now, granted, sometimes maybe something will pop up and say, oh, I want to go do this, but she's going to have to nap, or he's going to have to nap. Well, just let them nap in the car seat. Just let them get their naps, because nobody wants to be around a baby that hasn't had a nap, because that's just miserable for everyone involved. So you start off by waking them up after, whenever you feel comfortable of a morning, waking them up, whatever time that is for you. After you get yourself ready, or as soon as you wake up, whatever it is, that routine has to fit you individually. So you wake them up, get them ready for the day, feed them, clothe them, whatever it is. And then as they go about their day, put them down for whatever a morning nap would be. And then after they wake up, then you do whatever your routine is for them. But you just got to keep it in line with your routine. Like for us, back then we had Sunday night church and Wednesday night church. So we wouldn't get home until 9:30 or 10. So then you've got to get a bath, you got to get in all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you would fall asleep, or your siblings, you'd fall asleep in the car. So no routine has to be super rigid. It just has to be whatever fits in with your lifestyle. And then whatever you can do to keep them awake in the evening so that they will sleep longer through the night. That's the really important part, is that early evening time.
With naps, do you make sure everything is dark and quiet for the baby, or what does that look like for
if you can make it dark, that's great. But if
Yeah.
you don't have that ability, I mean, it's not too big of a deal. But don't keep it quiet, because then you got to sit there and do nothing. Run the dishwasher, run the vacuum cleaner, keep the TV on, put a sound machine in there with them, whatever it is. Keep it noisy, because then when you go in public and they've got to fall asleep, they're already used to noises, so they'll go to sleep no matter how loud and noisy it is. So it never really got quiet for y'all until you got like into your 2 and 3-year-old stage, because I would be at the church office and I'd be working and you'd be in another room sleeping. So that was of a more rigid, like, I'm not going anywhere, so it's going to be quiet over there.
Yeah. That's good. Next question. Should we pick them up every time they cry, or will that create bad habits?
Honestly, that's a tricky question, because some people say, oh, don't pick your baby up every time they cry or they're going to be spoiled. Well, I mean, I guess maybe in some instances that could be the case. But I mean, if they're crying, pick them up. If you don't know what's going on and you feel like something's bothering them, pick them up. But then once you sense of maybe like, okay, she's just wanting to be held, or he is just wanting to be held, there's nothing wrong with him, I've got to go take a shower, or I've got to clean the kitchen, you can set them in their swing, their bouncy seat. I don't know all the things they have nowadays, but you can set them in something where they'll be safe, and you can let them scream their head off while you get your stuff done if you know that there's nothing wrong with them and they're just kind of being irritable. So, I mean, if you want to pick them up, pick them up. But I do have to say, once you realize that, okay, there's nothing wrong with you, then you probably need to set them down and just kind of like maybe put something fun on the TV, like that's, I don't know what the cartoons are, like Bluey, I don't know, just something that can capture their attention and have those sounds that like tune in a baby. Put that on in the background, put them in their little bouncy seat or their swing, and then you do what you got to do. Don't feel bad about not picking them up every time.
That leads us into our final question, which is, how do I know it's okay to set them down and walk away for a minute when I feel frustrated?
Oh, that's a really good one. If you feel frustrated, absolutely. I don't care if maybe they're hungry, or maybe they're screaming, crying because, I don't know, maybe they have gas. It's okay for 60 to 90 seconds. Walk away, compose yourself, ask God to give you his peace, and then re-enter the situation and say, okay, God, help me figure out how to calm my baby down. And I mean, if you got someone you know is a good parent, call them and ask them, hey, she or he is doing this, this, and this. Is there something that I'm not seeing? But it's very important that when you feel like you're frustrated, you walk away and take a deep breath, calm yourself down, and then just go back and pick them back up. It really does help.
I've done that babysitting.
Yeah. And I'd have to say with babysitting, it's more frustrating when it's not your own kid.
Yes, definitely. Well, this has been so much fun today. I'm so excited that we have 2 more of these. And discipline, it's a godly thing.
Yes.
If you don't discipline, what are we doing? What are we doing?
And then you hate your children.
You hate your children. So we want to love our children. And again, I want to remind you that if you have questions, send them to us. You can either email them to me at thekaytlynward@gmail.com, or you can just drop them in the comments, because don't feel like any question is stupid, because someone else probably has that exact same question that's listening.
And I promise you, as a first-time mom, whenever I was a first-time mom, I mean, nothing's too stupid. It doesn't matter what it is.
Definitely not. So send your questions in and tune in for next week. So what is our next week topic, Mom?
Let's see. Next week's topic is, it's how to raise godly children.
How to raise godly children. You are not going to want to miss it. So turn on your notifications, subscribe to this channel, because we have such an exciting series here at the Kaytlynn Ward Show. And I'll see you again next week.